Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being at our meeting tonight of the Delaware County Sustainability Commission. Welcome. It's wonderful to have you all here. So I'll get started by sharing my screen so we can take a look at the agenda. So the first item on our agenda is welcome, roll call, and interactive question. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can go into the window where I have the roll call information. And then when I call your name, please say here or present. I won't be able to see you raise your hand, so please make sure you speak. I believe you said Steve Clark was not going to be here, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Jacqueline Rhodes. Okay. Joy Washington. Grace Bennett. David
I think Grace has just connected. I just see her appearing.
Oh, okay. I'll sing.
Sorry, I'm a little late.
Oh, thank you, Grace. I just heard you, David Director. So David Director, you're here.
I'm here.
Sean Stansel. Cephas Hales Richardson. Crystal Gald. Francine Locke.
Here.
Ed Orner. Mark Manfrey.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah,
How are you?
Thank you, Mark. Gina Burrett.
Here.
Brooke Stair. Laura Goodrich Cairns. And then I know, Becca, you're here. Is Ed McGargy he's officially retired, so does anyone replace him?
Yes.
I do.
Karen
That'll be
will-
Karen.
Oh, Karen. Okay. Karen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me see. So it looks like in terms of quorum, looks like we don't have it. Okay. All right. So now we can go on to the interactive questions. So let me pull that up for you. Okay. So our question today is, do you do any gardening? And if yes, what will you be growing? And what excites you about gardening? So you go to either on your phone or you open another window on your computer, another web browser, go to menti.com, MENTI.com, and the code is 43867461. So again, it's menti.com, MENTI.com, and the code is 43867461. And the question is, do you do any gardening? And if yes, what will you be growing? And what excites you about gardening? Like when we talk about sustainability, you may think, well, is gardening sustainable? It's locally grown food. And so it's definitely sustainable, and it's definitely super local if you're growing it yourself. And then you don't have the energy that it takes in going from the garden wherever it's grown and delivered to you, or depending on how far away it is, like what if you're getting fruit from California? There's a whole lot of energy and increases the carbon footprint. So let's see. Tomatoes, peppers, and romaine lettuce. That sounds awesome. Native plants. I'm excited to reduce the lawn and support the local wildlife. That's wonderful. Yeah, when you have native plants and you have like a pollinator garden, you know, you're helping in so many ways. And definitely you don't have to, I mean, you have to maintain the gardens, obviously. And if you have a pollinator garden, you definitely have to maintain it. But anyway, it's more of like more natural. You don't have to mow it and manicure it and things like that. It says, no, I am hopeless, but I support local farmers. I'm someone who I don't have a green thumb, but I want to have one because it sounds like super fun, and it will definitely decrease like my carbon footprint, like if I did more of that. But yeah, supporting local farmers is awesome. No, but my 93-year-old dad does tomatoes, zucchini, and basil. That sounds really awesome. Just starting a vegetable garden this year. That's super, super cool. Green onions, tomatoes, bell peppers, lettuce, and native wildflowers. That sounds so cool. Excited to grab fresh veggies from right outside my front door. That sounds so awesome. That's what I want my world to be like that too. I don't get enough sunlight for veggies, but I'm doing a lot of indoor plants, spider plants, snake plants, great for indoor air quality, and cyclamen flowers. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that, but that sounds awesome too. We are container gardeners. I love to see how excited my kids get in planting, and harvesting the garden throughout the season. That's really neat too. So you don't really need a lot of property. You can grow some vegetables and plants in containers, and it's so cool to get kids involved and get them excited about planting. Like I remember the first time I was in second grade, I had to plant something. I grew lima beans, and prior to that, I did not like lima beans. After that, it became one of my favorite vegetables. So you learn a lot. So anyway, I'll stop sharing. We can go to the next item on the agenda. Let's see, I'll share my screen. I apologize if you hear my dogs. I'm so sorry. I'm hoping you can still hear me. So now I will review the instructions for public comment. Let me stop sharing just so I can read those to you and make sure I'm saying it all accurately here. So here are our instructions for public comment. So throughout the meeting, we'll be providing the opportunity for residents and guests to provide comments or feedback, during which time comments may be submitted by the following. 1, guests may submit written comment to the email sustaindelco@co.delaware.pa.us. That is sustaindelco@co.delaware.pa.us. Secondly, guests may also provide written comment in the chat window in the Zoom meeting. Oh, sorry, that's what I was just reading. Okay, so the next item on our agenda, I guess since we don't have quorum, we can't approve the meeting minutes from December, January, and February, but hopefully next month we will have quorum. Now, the next item on the agenda, we can't do that either. Sorry, we can't adopt the bylaw amendment because we don't have quorum, but hopefully at next month's meeting we will have quorum. So now on to item number 5, introduction of Karen Wilwall. I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
Yep.
And presentation of the Delaware County Conservation District.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Karen Wilwall. I am the new Soil Conservation Executive Director. So Ed McCargy retired about 2 weeks ago, and I stepped into his role. I was the watershed specialist there for the last almost 6 years. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to step into that role and have more involvement in sustainability in the county. So I'm going to do a presentation tonight, just an overview of the Conservation District. We do a lot there. So I'm going to touch on almost everything. It's not all inclusive, but I'd like to give just a good idea of what we do at the Conservation District. So I'm not super familiar with Zoom, but I'm going to do my best to share my screen and do all of that. Okay. Is it sharing the PowerPoint?
You just want to hit presentation mode, but we can see your screen.
And where do I see presentation mode?
So you can either go to the View tab on the very top.
Oh, okay.
I think it's View. Or Slideshow. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
And then from the beginning, and you should be all set.
Okay, let's do that. There we go. All right. Like I said, I'm Karen Wilwell. I am the district manager, aka Soil Conservation Executive Director now at the Delaware County Conservation District. To give you an idea of the Conservation District makeup, so the way that we operate, we are a political subdivision of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So there is a conservation district in every county in Pennsylvania, except for Philadelphia. They do not have a conservation district. We are also a county department. So under Delaware County, we are considered the Soil and Water Conservation Department. So we operate under both state and county guidelines and requirements. We work closely with landowners in the county, both private and public, as well as land users, to conserve the natural resources of the county, specifically soil and water related natural resources. We also provide technical assistance and tools and resources and connections and networking to manage and protect our land and water resources. So this blurb on the left of the screen there, that's our mission statement. I'll let you read through that as I talk about this slide. The meat and potatoes is that first paragraph there, basically saying, that our mission is to protect the environment in Delaware County through conservation of its natural resources. So we do have a board of directors. They guide our decisions and guide our activities, and they make they take action on anything that we need approved in order to be able to do the work that we do in the county. So they're all our board members are listed here. You might recognize some of those names. So Elaine Schaefer is on our board. She is our council liaison from the county. We also have Steve Beckley, who is in the planning department. He's a staff member of the county. We also have members of the farming community. So Steve Linville, Donna Silvestri, and Randy Bates. We also have developers, engineers, and members of the public that serve on our board. So this slide, this presentation view was put together by our department for the Pennsylvania Association of Conservation Districts. So it kind of just gives an overview of some of the projects and programs and how we used our state funds in 2023. So I'll just highlight a few of the things here. I'll talk about most of these throughout the presentation, but on the left there was a collaboration with the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. They have a program where landowners can request funding to implement riparian buffers on their properties. So a resident in Middletown Township and their neighbor went to DCNR and requested this funding. And in order to purchase plants and actually hire a contractor to do this work, DCNR identifies an implementation partner. So the Conservation District acted as that implementation partner. So we were kind of the middleman between DCNR and the landowner. So we held the funds from DCNR, and then we paid the contractor directly to implement this project. We also hold the landowner agreement with this particular property owner. So that's the agreement that we had with DCNR and the landowner, and that project went really well. They planted hundreds of trees on 2 properties in Middletown Township, and it was really easy, smooth process, and we were able to restore a riparian buffer. Let's see here. I don't want to duplicate these slides, so I'm going to talk about our trailer, the low volume road project, and our agreement with Chester County Conservation District. So I'm just going to skip ahead here. All right. I would ask for a show of hands, but I can't see all your faces. The MS4, I was going to ask if everyone knows what the MS4 permit program is. So MS4 stands for Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System. It falls under the National Pollutant Discharge and Elimination System umbrella of permitting. So we are the Conservation District, along with the Planning Department, we work together on the county's MS4 permit. So the county has its own permit for county-owned facilities. So this includes all of our county parks. It also includes Fair Acres, the county prison, the Emergency Services Center, Emergency Services Training Center. So any parcel of land that's owned by the county falls under this MS4 permit. We are required to meet so many measures as part of this permit in order to stay in compliance. And this includes public education, education of our facility managers, inspection of outfalls and stormwater facilities, and mapping. So we work, like I said, we work with the planning department to uphold our requirements of this permit. Okay, our biggest workload at the Conservation District is erosion and sediment control. We are delegated by the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection to administer the NPDES, that's that National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, permit program for Chapter 102 and Chapter 105. So Chapter 102 allows us to review and issue permits to any earth disturbance activities 1 acre or greater. And then the 105 program allows us to review and issue permits for just about any project that takes place in a stream. So that's a waterways and wetlands permit. And we work very closely with DEP to administer these programs. So I did not update this slide. It is a little old, but you can get an idea of how many disturbed acres we have, how many permits we review and administer. We do have 3 technicians right now that do administrative reviews for completeness of the actual permit application because they are incredibly in-depth. And then we also review erosion and sediment control plans to ensure that the proper controls are on the site to keep sediment from running off during storm events. Okay, this is my baby, the Low Volume Road Grant Program. We kicked this off in 2020. It is a state grant program that's administered by county conservation districts throughout the state. So we were actually the last conservation district to join the program and to receive funds to then distribute for projects. Projects that are funded through this program, they must benefit both road systems and the environmental system. So the way that works is if you have a steep road and when it rains, it washes out a ditch and sediment from that ditch goes into the stream at the bottom of the hill. Fixing that road to prevent the sediment from running off and helping the road base would be an eligible project. So the definition of a low volume road is it has a vehicle count of 500 vehicles per day or less. They are hard to find around here, but we have found some, and it has to be paved and it has to be publicly owned. So unfortunately, there have been several homeowners associations, private developments that have asked if they'd be eligible, but it does have to be a publicly owned road. In order to be eligible, an employee from the municipality typically has to attend an environmentally sensitive maintenance training where they learn all about different practices to protect our streams and improve roads. It's a really great program, really great training, and I encourage every municipal staff person to go to that. So there's a couple of different players who keep the program going and strong. The State Conservation Commission, they're the ones that allocate the funding to conservation districts. They also do some education and outreach and assistance for conservation districts. And they also create and establish the policies for the program. Obviously, the conservation districts are the ones that receive the funds and then give those out to municipalities. And we administer the program at the county level. And then we have the conservation district has a quality assurance board. This is made up of one member from the Natural Resource Conservation Service, one member from the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission, and then 2 members from the conservation district, one of whom is non-voting. The purpose of the QAB, we call it, is to make recommendations to the district board. The district board ultimately makes the decisions for policies and funding. And then the Penn State Center for Dirt and Gravel Road Studies, they are our resource for technical assistance. So anytime I'm out at a site looking at a road and I have no idea what to do, I can contact them and they can come out and offer suggestions for fixing up the road. All right, this is just another slide on more details about some of the projects that we've implemented over the years. So like I said, we've been involved since 2020. We have contracted out, we've contracted out 163,000, and then we did have a recent amendment. So if I can do math correctly, comes out to about $179,000 that we have awarded to municipalities for road improvement projects over the past 3.5 or so years. And then they do often contribute in kind match, which is good. And actually I did that math wrong. So we have our total contracted, that's the current amount right now is about 179. Total probably is closer to $400,000 that we've given out. We do receive about $84,000 each year for the program, and we are required to spend that money within 2 years. So at any given time, we may have committed all of our funds and have nothing available, or we could have up to, say, $160,000 available for projects. Okay, the conservation planting trailer is another resource that we're able to provide to the community to be able to implement environmental conservation projects. So I believe that this started, I want to say in 2012 or 2013 before I was with the district. And it was a project of the Southeastern Pennsylvania Resource Conservation and Development Council, which is a partnership between the four Southeast Pennsylvania conservation districts. So it's Chester County, Bucks County, Montgomery County, and Delaware County. And we work together with them on several different projects, including this one. So the trailer is full of all these tools over here on the right and more. And groups, volunteer groups typically can request use of the trailer to support their conservation planting project, whether it's a riparian buffer or a rain garden or an invasive plant removal or any kind of planting maintenance project. And it was recently funded by a Growing Greener grant from DEP to keep it going over the past 3 years. So it's picked up popularity since we had that grant, and it's continuing to be a great resource even now. Okay, another one of our grant programs. We don't administer the funds specifically for this program. We used to kind of be the pass-through funding organization for the Tree Vitalize program. We now call it the Trees for Watersheds program. The Pennsylvania Horticultural Society manages this grant program. So they look over all the applications and they administer the funds to grant applicants, grant awardees. So the purpose of the program is to enhance and restore riparian buffers in Southeast Pennsylvania. So again, that's Bucks, Chester, Delaware, and Montgomery counties. And all 4 of those conservation districts participate in that program. So we're involved. We are the first point of contact for potential applicants. If they have a site in mind that they want to plant trees, they can contact us, and we'll go out and help them plan their project, select plants, potentially plan a planting date. We're technical assistants, and we can help them develop their applications as well. Okay. We also do public education and outreach. Besides all of those other programs, we do these different types of outreach in the community. So the Envirothon is something I know that Ed was really, really proud of. And it's a really cool program that we do every year. High school students form teams and prepare for, it's basically an environmental conservation testing competition. So they test their knowledge in soils, aquatics, wildlife, forestry, and a current environmental issue. And I feel like there might be one more, but I can't think of it. Pencrest High School is typically the winner for the Envirothon. Sometimes there's an underdog that comes out on top, but we are keeping it going this year. Pencrest and a couple other schools are participating. And the winner goes on to a state competition, and from there they can go on to nationals. So it's a really exciting program and a good way for us to reach our schools too. Same with the poster contest. It's a great way for us to interact with primarily elementary schools. I do believe they open it up to high schools as well, but every year there's a different theme for schools to, for students to develop posters, and our district board gets to vote on their favorite ones and the ones that convey the theme the best every year. We also have educational materials to set up at tabling events. So last year, I know I set up at the Newland Gristmill. They had a watershed 5K. That was really neat. We've also participated, it was Strathaven had a health event that we set up a table at. So we are able to go out in the community and teach everyone about non-point source pollution and what we do at the Conservation District. We also put on workshops and webinars typically focused on stormwater and non-point source pollution prevention. These are typically done in collaboration with our partners. So we often work with the Eastern Delaware County Stormwater Collaborative on these. Other county departments, we've worked with planning before to do these types of workshops. And the Southeast Pennsylvania RC&D. We'll work with them to reach homeowners associations, engineers, developers for updates about permitting and stormwater management. So we develop and distribute educational materials, whether it's signage, brochures. We don't do a ton of this anymore because it's a lot of printing, and since 2020, most of it's been online, but we do try to develop these types of educational things for non-point source pollution prevention, again, and stormwater management. And we have an online presence, of course. So we have our website. We also have a YouTube page. If you're ever really bored, you can check out our board meetings. We've been posting those on our YouTube page. And we also have a Facebook account, which allows us to interact on social media with our partners and share some of our updates as well. All right. I'm going to just touch on these real quick. We have a mini grant program that's really cool and a really great way for us to reach some of our volunteer groups in the county. The purpose of this program kind of is to introduce grassroots organizations to grant writing and grant administration. It's really simple. There's not a ton of paperwork, and the goal of it is essentially to fund smaller environmental conservation projects. So it is only up to $500, but we funded things like water quality monitoring supplies, educational materials, small tree planting projects, pollinator gardens, things like that. Okay, one of our strongest partners is the Penn State Extension Master Watershed Steward Program. A lot of the programs that I mentioned in the previous slides, like Tree Vitalize or Trees for Watersheds, I keep mixing that up, would not be possible without the Master Watershed Stewards. They are a dedicated, passionate group of trained volunteers. They go through several hours of training on everything watershed related. And then they are required to contribute so many volunteer hours to maintain their status as a watershed steward. Okay, we also support our watershed associations. Annually, we donate to their stream cleanups. We also work with them through some of our grant programs like Trees for Watersheds and our mini grant program. Okay, we also have a partnership with the Chester County Conservation District. We do not have any agricultural staff in Delaware County. There is farmland in Delaware County, but not enough to warrant us having a whole dedicated staff person. So we have an agreement with Chester County Conservation, who has plentiful agricultural staff to assist us anytime we get any kind of request for from a farmer who might have a stormwater problem on his property or an eroding stream bank running through his property. So at Chester County, they can come out and take a look and develop conservation plans, or help us with a new funding source, the ACAP program, which stands for Agricultural Conservation Assistance Program. So they're helping us out with that as well. Okay, and then like I mentioned in the previous slide, we do various training programs for various audiences, design engineers, homeowners associations, municipal staff, general public, our facility managers on county-owned properties. And yeah, a wide variety of audiences for our wide variety of programs. I think that is all that I wanted to cover. Do we have time for questions, Becca, if anyone has any questions?
Just one quick question. How will municipalities determine if they have a low volume road? Like, is there a database, or how can they check to see if their roads have less than 500 vehicles?
So there's not a database. PennDOT has their state traffic maps. So they do, PennDOT does traffic counts for some of their roads, and sometimes you can figure out whether a road in between two main roads is low volume based on those traffic counts, but I don't think that's really effective for our county. So I rely on our municipalities to identify their low volume roads. Typically, if you're on the road for say 20 minutes and one car goes by, chances are pretty good that it's low volume. But they do have to count. So there's all these criteria for counting to verify that it is low volume. There's like 3 different options. You can have actual traffic counts that count the vehicles, or you can send one of your staff members out to sit there and count the cars manually for, I think, 2 hours. And then there's another method that I can't think of. I think it's like extrapolation of existing data. So that would be referring to a map that already has those traffic counts.
Awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else?
Yeah, anyone have any other questions for Karen? Okay, it seems like we don't have any other questions, but thank you, Karen, for your presentation. I thought it was really informative.
Yeah, happy to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now I'll go on to the next item on the agenda, which is public comment. Is there any public comment?
I do have a public. I'm sorry.
I want to
go
mention
ahead.
that a member of the public actually is in my office. He thought the meeting may have been in person. So I just want to mention that Robert Ott is here in my office.
Okay.
And he's a kind engineer. There you go.
Okay. So does Robert have any questions or any?
He does not, but Becca was about to say there is one in our.
Okay.
So we do have one in the chat. This is from Steve Clark, who couldn't be with us, but it's on behalf of the Haverford Township EAC. So they were requesting the monthly updates first, if there's any update on the prison solar project. So that would probably go to Elaine.
Can you repeat? I'm sorry, I was looking at something else.
That's okay. That's okay. So the Haverford EAC is checking in to see if there's any status update on the prison solar project.
The prison solar project, yes. So you're going to hear from Francine when she gives her update that the county has joined a larger cooperative in establishing a trust to do all of our energy buying together in a different way, so that we can I forget what it's called, that where you can buy energy on demand, except instead of a long contract. The purpose of that was to be able to invest in renewable sources. So we are hoping that that cooperative buying unit will help propel the solar on the larger tract. The solar that we had been planning that would be behind the meter on the smaller tract is not going to happen at this point. We have a huge construction project going on at the prison right now for just regular prison infrastructure, and the taking down the old prison, Broadmeadows, I think it was called, is really cost prohibitive right now because of the things that are there in terms of substances, asbestos and old things. So that did not end up to be feasible to doing a project on the parcel where the prison is to do behind the meter. But we are still hopeful that once this cooperative gets up and running, and there is an organized market that's willing and wanting to invest in a project locally, that will propel on the project on the larger prison tract. And
Thank you.
That's all I got.
Thank you. And the second question is also about the RPPA, so we can wait until the second public comment after Fran's update.
Okay, great. So officially here, of course, next is Francine's update on the Office of Sustainability.
Evening, everyone. Happy to be here. I'm going to share my screen. So just want to jump right into it here. We did initiate our zero waste task force aimed at the hospitality industry. This is in support of our Sustained Delco Zero Waste and Health and Wellness focus areas from our plan. We formed this task force to address waste generated from food establishments and the need for food to be rescued when it's not eaten. So our task serves to influence the following Sustained Delco targets and goals. To increase our county's waste diversion rate to 50% over the next 5 years. The current diversion rate is 37% for county communities. We also want to increase the number of healthy food offerings in food insecure communities by 20% over the next 5 years. We do not have a baseline right now for that, but we are trying to achieve the goal, the overarching goal of to ensure just and equitable access to healthy, nutritious, appealing, and locally grown food through the work of this task force, in part. So our task is to provide food establishments with the tools needed to easily connect with food donation groups, organics collection and composting, reuse and upcycling service providers, and recycling vendors. So 2 meetings have already taken place in January and February. A third is scheduled for March 25th. We have restaurants, caterers, institutional dining establishments, waste reduction experts, and our health department included in this task force. We are also discussing best practices in waste reduction with this group, such as eliminating foodware containers and utensils, as well as demonstrating the business case for waste reduction to show that there is a fiscal or financial benefit to doing this. And we plan to complete our task and share the resource guide at the 3rd Annual Sustainability Conference on May 30th. I just want to give a shout out to Shari Stuber, who is not a member of our commission, but she's a highly involved member of our community and media. She has been kind enough to share the support of several students from Bryn Mawr and Haverford colleges. And so these students are going to help with the legwork needed to gather some information, reaching out to vendors and more. I also wanted to add that from the meetings, we gleaned from council members Ruther and Schaefer that we really need to make sure that we have active participants in the task force who have really, so restaurants and caterers who are the end users, so that the task force, that we create a product that is welcomed by the industry and not a burden. And so it was really important to make sure we have the right people at the table. And so we've increased membership a couple times now. So in the 3rd meeting, we'll actually have new members to make sure we're representing this group. As Council Member Schaefer mentioned, and as you may recall, Delaware County is a member of the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission's led Sustainable Energy Partnership of Southeastern Pennsylvania. This is called SEPSA. The group consists of 4 counties, Bucks, Chester, Delaware, and Montgomery. This was formerly called the RPPA, as Becca mentioned, which was the Regional Power Purchasing Agreement Steering Committee, but we have morphed and evolved into this Sustainable Energy Partnership Group. So SEPSA was created through an MOU that was approved by council, all of the counties, commissions, councils. But prior to SEPSA's creation, and presently, we are still procuring energy collectively with these counties as members through a fixed rate full requirements retail contract under the Southeastern Pennsylvania Regional Power Purchase Agreement Partnership. And that is managed through Provident Energy. And so we are presently still in that fixed contract mode. But as we previously shared, we're working in close collaboration with the DVRPCs and the other counties to move forward with this new procurement strategy. In fact, a study was undertaken to explore the different energy procurement approaches and structures that could best meet the county's long-term energy goals of low-cost electricity, long-term price stability, increased transparency, integration of renewable energy, as Elaine was mentioning, and ease of onboarding additional to-be-determined members, such as municipalities and school districts, in an aggregation approach. And so SEPSA's procurement strategy is based on purchasing electricity on an hourly locational marginal price and fixed rate block purchasing structure. So on March 5th, County Council approved a contract with WGL Energy Services to establish a dedicated PJM sub-account. As I mentioned in other meetings, we were trying to get there. We've reached that point. So that we can purchase energy and renewable energy credits on behalf of the county as part of SEPSA for a term of 5 years at a cost of 0.67 or 67 cents per megawatt hour. So WGL has agreed to enter into this contract for a 5-year term with 5 potential 1-year renewals. So in total, their services will cost the county about $18,000 per year. This will be included in our budget for 2025, and there are no costs anticipated in 2024. This does not include any costs associated with bringing renewable energy development projects to the partnership at this time, but it will give us the opportunity to do that as we move forward. And so WGL currently provides the renewable energy credits for Delaware County and our other counties. As you know, we have 100% wind credit, renewable energy credits. And so at the beginning of April, the SEPSA board will have a special meeting to discuss its renewable energy strategy with respect to encouraging its electricity supplier to find appropriate wind and solar projects that can supply renewable energy to the counties, which is what we're looking for. We're looking for that renewable energy infrastructure, and this will help to push that forward. I will continue to share updates with you as we move forward. Just some interesting news. DVRPC, in collaboration with the Wilmington Area Planning Council and South Jersey Transportation Organization, led the development of a priority climate action plan for the Philadelphia Metropolitan Statistical Area, which is an MSA. So a climate action plan was generated and submitted to the EPA. This is a big deal, and it took a lot of work on many people's parts. The DVRPC worked with all of the counties and different partners. And this meets the requirements of the EPA Climate Pollution Reduction Grant Program, CPIRG, that Becca has reported out on in the past that she's been working on a grant for with this collective group of people and organizations. So the CPIRG program, authorized under the IRA, provides $5 billion in grants to MSAs, which are those metropolitan statistical areas in Philadelphia. That would include us. And the CPIRG program was developed to implement plans for reducing greenhouse gas emissions and other harmful air pollution. So the climate action plan published by DVCRP and sent to the EPA just recently identifies high priority, ready to implement greenhouse gas reduction measures for this area and the communities within it. And the program consists of two phases, planning and implementation. So inclusion in this climate action plan is a prerequisite to be eligible for implementation grant funding in the second phase of the CPIRG program. And Delaware County submitted several greenhouse gas reduction projects for the CPIRG program with detailed scopes, budgets, and reduction calculations. Becca was spinning her wheels for a few weeks. She worked very, very hard on trying to make sure that we had really solid and high quality projects that were included in this grant application. I have to give her a ton of credit for that work. And it's still not over yet. I think they're still maybe asking, no, that's the block grant perhaps, but it seems to be a never-ending process. But the implementation phase provides $4.6 billion for competitive implementation grants to eligible applicants to implement these reduction strategies or measures. So more to come. I just want to give you an update on that exciting news that we are getting there. We might get money for some cool things such as organics collection and composting facility, or maybe energy savings projects, but more to come. This was a fun event. I had to include this because David, director, was so kind to invite me to this event. So Delaware County attended an annual luncheon hosted by the League of Women Voters of Delaware County on February 21st at the Springfield Country Club. This is an annual luncheon that provides council with the opportunity to interact with the members and discuss topics that they're interested in. This year, the League also invited key leaders to participate, including our county's new executive director, Barbara O'Malley, who's with us tonight. Very nice and generous for her to spend the time with us this evening at our commission meeting. Also, the director of elections, Jim Allen, was there, and I was also invited. Topics discussed included the health department, open space, the county's prison, the voting process, and of course, sustainability. I was happy to have been invited by David to speak to the League about our work that we're discussing here. And there was a tremendous amount of interest and support shown. So that group of folks were really, really interested in it. Just wanted to share that. And also a really exciting program. Last year, I mentioned this, I went to a luncheon, Dr. Taylor was there where they were talking about this. They launched the Green Business Association certification program. I had the opportunity to present at this inaugural Sustainability Newtown Square Green Business Coalition Leaders Mini Conference. It was hosted at Boron's, which is a company in Newtown Square. We were at their facility there, which was really impressive in terms of sustainability. And so the Sustainable Newtown Square Green Business Coalition is a free program sponsored by the township there and their EAC for businesses that pledge to environmental sustainability practices and give back to the community. And this is 100% voluntarily. There's no binding program, and it helps to educate businesses on environmentally sustainable practices. It rewards these big businesses and recognizes those businesses who have taken steps to be good stewards of their community and environment, and it encourages residents to buy local and consume responsibly. I wanted to share that with you, and it's such a model program that we could share with other townships and municipalities. Just want to give a moment to mention our Earth Day events that Delaware County's Office of Sustainability is spearheading. Becca, would you like to just talk about those two? Because I know that you have a lot of info on them.
Sure. So just a couple to highlight. First, well, I'll just highlight two, I guess. So on April 20th, so that's a Saturday, we're going to be hosting a tree planting and cleanup in William Penn Park and Ethel Waters Park in Chester City in collaboration with Chester City and the Chester Shade Tree Commission. So we'll be posting more information about that a little bit later. And the other event just wanted to share, so the very next weekend, we'll also be hosting our annual campaign sign recycling events. So you'll be seeing updates from me requesting volunteers for those. So keep an eye out.
There are a ton of CRC events going on. In fact, the gentleman who's here with me now, member of the public who joined us at our meeting, was just talking about the events that he's involved with. I'm actually going to be at one on Saturday at the Ridley Lake Park, and Becca's going to be attending one that's spearheaded by Amanda Hagan, who is in our Innovation GIS group. So check out those websites and see the events that are happening. They're a lot all over the place, not just on Earth Day. So. I just wanted to share with you that my former colleague, Marty Dietz, who used to be a senior energy analyst for the city of Philadelphia, but has grown to be the country sustainability director for IKEA, was kind enough to invite Delaware County to attend their One Home, One Planet US Sustainability ESG event. So this is sort of supporting them in implementing their ESG goals as a large corporation. It's an action-oriented event, similar to what our conference is going to be like. Becca has been strategizing on our conference to be a take action kind of approach. Like, how can we do things to be better? And this brings together purpose-driven, ideas-led doers, thinkers, and influencers from across different fields. They're going to break down barriers to solve key social and environmental challenges facing the world. The goal is to inspire action and spark change in the areas of climate crisis, inequality, and resource scarcity so that we create the future we all want to be a part of. So this year's One Home, One Planet event will focus on 3 topics: circular economy, affordable housing, and clean construction. Becca will be attending on behalf of Delaware County. She will focus on the topic of clean construction, if I remember correctly. And I hope that I'm looking forward to hearing her report out after the event. It sounds like it's going to be really exciting. And so I just wanted to give you a little update on the partner. So this week we met with Justin J. Harris and his team from the Climate Equity Collaborative. If you recall, he was the keynote speaker at our last year's sustainability conference. The CEC is a public-private partnership that engages non-traditional partners with an emphasis on youth and underserved communities in climate innovation and climate action. They engage at the system level through initiatives in climate education, children's environmental health, and environmental justice. One of their key goals is to construct more on-ramps to the global climate conversation for youth and underserved communities. And so if you recall last year, Mrs. Weatherly and Ms. Zamansky from the Stetzer School received recognition for their sustainability work. And so that was a connection that was actually made with Justin and the teachers. And Justin visited us in the fall of 2023 with a net zero education policy group from Taiwan to discuss potential partnerships. And from our call this week, we learned that Justin is returning on August 12th with a larger climate delegation from Taiwan focusing on education. He's attempting to connect the Stetzer Elementary School class with a sister classroom in Taiwan so that they can collaborate through curriculum and become a National Wildlife Federation eco school. And there's more to come on that really cool project. Looking forward to sharing that with you. And finally, I have Gina here with us to give an amazing announcement about a grant. Gina.
Thank you. Yeah, very excited to receive $2.5 million from the Reconnecting Communities grant program from the infrastructure or the Inflation Reduction Bill. Sorry, there's too many acronyms. For the Route 291, reconnecting Route 291 in the city of Chester. So it will cover both preliminary engineering and final design of Route 291, hopefully shrinking it down and then also putting in the East Coast Greenway in that section. So that hopefully will be a big section complete as we work to build the entire East Coast Greenway in Delaware County. So we're very excited to receive that. It does work out really well timing wise. We are wrapping up now our study, a TCDI study funded through DVRPC. That looked at some of the feasibility and alternatives about how we could put the East Coast Greenway and increase safety and connectivity between the city and the residents and the waterfront and a lot of the great amenities that are being built along that waterfront. But right now it's currently unsafe for residents to get to those locations. So this will increase safety, increase biking and walking, and also just make it safer for people who are driving as well. So it was a really exciting announcement. We have been trying to fund this through several different grant applications through the years, with a lot of help from a lot of people on this call right now, which hasn't worked yet, but so this finally did it, and then hoping that this will lead to even more money down the road when we get to the point where we can go to construction. So more to come, but an exciting win.
It's really awesome, Gina. Just such a shining star for Delaware County. Really grateful to have this happening here and all the work your team has put into it and partners. Thank you for
Yes, I
sharing.
should say that PennDOT is they did partner with us on this, which was a big thing, and they will also help to administer this grant, which is going to be helpful because it is a federal grant, so there are a lot of requirements that they'll help us with that. But like Fran was saying, this is definitely a team effort. It took a lot of people to get us to this point, so I'm very thankful for all of that work.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that this evening. And I apologize for the really grainy, this is planning department's new logo. It's really awesome. This is very grainy, but there's a really nice high resolution version. And so I'm going to leave you with this. Next month, we'll give you an update on the composting at the government center and so much more. We could share so much with you right now, but this is what I could fit into the slot, I believe. And I'm just grateful for your attention. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Francine. Man, that was a wonderful report, and congrats again on that grant. That's so amazing for Chester. So does anyone have any questions for Francine? No questions? Okay, well, thank you again, Francine, for your great report. I'll just share my screen to go on to the next item of the agenda. The next item is conference update. Becca.
Hello, I just wanted to give a really quick update on our conference planning. So since last time, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Normally it has a green box around it and I don't see it. So since last time, we've locked in a couple additional speakers that we're really excited about. First, the Stroudwater Resource Center is going to be one of our plenary talks in the morning. We're also excited to share that some of our Sustainability Commission members and alum are going to be doing a breakout session on home energy efficiency. So that's Steve Clark talking about heat pumps, our alum, Scott Sidlow, talking about some financing opportunities to help pay for energy efficiency updates, and Tom Hill sharing from PICO about the home energy audits. We're also happy to add a Vision Zero presentation to our municipal track from Gina Burrett and Kathy Spar in our planning department. And we've also added a session from the very famous Bob Thomas, who is an engineer out of Philadelphia, but a true jack of all trades, who's going to be talking about some of his experiences and how preservation can be a form of sustainability. Some other updates just to share. Registration is now open for the conference. So if you have not yet reserved your spot, please log on, go to www.delcopa.gov/sustaindelco2024. Space is limited, so I would highly encourage you all to do this now and early. Other updates, just wanted to share, we are still looking for fundraising partners. So if anybody is interested in sponsoring, please feel free to reach out to me and I'm happy to share some additional information. In the meantime, we are applying to PICO for a sponsorship opportunity. So hopefully get that application out sometime this week and we'll hear hopefully by our next meeting. And the last thing I wanted to share is that we have started the awards committee. So this is something new that we're doing for the first time. We have a great group, including Carol and Steve from our commission, who are going to be overseeing the process of reviewing nominations. Those final recommendations from that group will come before this board during our May meeting for an acceptance. Carol, do you want to add anything about the awards committee?
Just that when you take a look at the various categories of awards, have an open mind and please submit nominations. There's probably a lot going on in our county that we really should recognize that could be a model for others to follow. So when you see that come out, please do submit a nomination. Yeah.
Awesome. And that is those that nomination form, as well as all the information on different categories and what you need to submit, should be coming out next week on our website, and we'll also be posting on social media. So I just highly encourage you to keep an eye out for that. And that's everything I have.
Yeah. And just another another thing. When you make nominations, obviously, I guess there just will be like one winner supposedly for each category, but I think it'll be a way to kind of like see what's going on out there and maybe even create a pipeline of awards in the future. So let's just say we get a certain number of applications for a certain award and it's awarded to one. It doesn't mean that the other ones can't apply again the following year. And so like I said, I think there's probably so many amazing things going on that maybe your neighbors are doing or you hear about in the county. So please, it would be great to just celebrate those. So that's all. Any questions for Becca? Okay. All right. Hearing none, I hope you all like register for the conference as soon as you can. It's going to be awesome. Let's see, I'll share my screen to go on to the next item on the agenda. Okay, spring events and Earth Day roundtable. I guess this was just to share what each of us are doing for Earth Day, right, Becca? Okay, so share. Is your community doing anything special for Earth Day, and what is it? You can mention it in the chat if you'd like, or unmute and speak. What's going on in your local municipality? What do you hear going on in maybe the schools or your neighborhood, your communities? So let's share what's going on.
And anything that's shared that has public signups for volunteers, we're going to make a master list and share it on our website and social media so people can help find events. So please share anything you know of.
Anne, were you going to share something?
Well, and Karen, the Parks and Recreation Department is having a Stream Health Day at Whetstone Run, which is in the new park, formerly known as Don Guanella. We'll be doing a live staking workshop with the Penn State Extension Master Watershed Stewards, and with a little educational part where we'll explain. Karen is going to work with us to install Christmas trees on the stream bank to help prevent erosion and to stabilize the stream bank. Then we'll be doing the live staking workshop. And also the master gardeners from Penn State Extension will be doing some native plantings up in the parking lot area at the trail entrance. And volunteers, of course.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Karen, Mark, you want to add anything?
No, that was good, Anne.
Wonderful.
And where can people sign up for that?
Yeah,
No, you covered it all, Ann. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. We don't have a registration, just kind of it'll be 10 o'clock on Earth Day itself, the Monday, April 22nd. So.
Okay.
Yeah, fill the parking lot, please.
Yeah.
Come out.
Anyone else like to share what's going on in their communities or?
I know I don't see Jacqueline on the call, but I think Francine had mentioned the CRC Streams Cleanup is this Saturday, and then the Darby Creek Valley Association also does stream cleanups throughout the month of April. So they have various weekends at various sites with various team leaders. So I can share a link if that would be helpful in the chat here to their website.
Thank you. Thank you. Would anyone else like to share?
One that I heard of. So we had a community member from Upper Darby reach out, and they were able to get free supplies through our Keep Delco Beautiful affiliation. And PennDOT is the one to donate the supplies. But if you are local or in the area of Upper Darby, they're going to be doing multiple cleanups on April 21st, beginning at 9 a.m. at Garrett, what is the elementary school? Garrettford Elementary School, I believe. I believe that's the name of the school. But that's where you can meet to get your supplies for the cleanup.
Let me add a couple things. First of all, Garrettford is at Garrett Road, basically Garrett Road in Vermont. There at the bottom end of Drexel Hill. Media Borough is doing a cleanup on Saturday. the 20th, between 10 and 12, with an education session beginning at 9, and I believe that's going to be at 3rd Street, but I'm not at the 3rd Street Bridge there, but I'm not positive, and you can check on the borough website. But the other thing I wanted to mention that's something maybe a little different is that media is distributing anti-mosquito door hangers, anti-spraying door hangers to all the available residences, and we're doing that. That's happening even as we speak. Hopefully by the end of the weekend, everybody will get one, and it's a message about the harm that spraying does and the fact that it doesn't work very well anyway. So we'll see how that works. I'll report back.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Anyone else want to share? Well, I'll share what's happening in Lansdowne. In Lansdowne at Hoffman Park, we're going to have a great Earth Day event. We're actually having the unveiling of a mural at the park. And then, a great day of, we'll have some tables with some fun activities for kids to learn more about the environment and how to protect the environment. We'll also have like some seed exchanges, and we have a group in Lansdowne called Buy Nothing Lansdowne. So they're going to have a table with some items that basically are all free, and it's going to be a fun time. So if you want to come by Lansdowne on April 20th, come on by. It starts about 11:30, and yeah, it's a day to show appreciation for the environment and learn something new and enjoy each other's company. So hope you can make it. Would anyone else like to share? Okay. Let's see. I'll go on to the next item on the agenda. Public comment. Is there any public comment?
So I can finish the second half of the RPPA comment.
Oh, yeah.
So I think the questions were answered, which was asking kind of what the strategy was, but there was also a comment that's shared as a commissioner and as a Delco citizen. I'm deeply disappointed in the strategy of moving forward simply with purchasing recs. Purchasing recs need not involve such engagement, as PA recs are very inexpensive and available for large organizations. And then it says, but unfortunately, I have little to no influence on actually making electricity cleaner. There are valid reasons which preclude a PPA. Either way, an update is in order. So just recognizing that this commissioner would like to see what some of those alternative options are to recs.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Any other public comment?
I should mention, let me respond slightly to that. And I should mention that the project or the proposed project to install solar at the prison site is an effort in that direction, but it's difficult to cite things in this area. So it's not an easy thing to do. And the recs are what we can do in the meantime.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that.
Can you all hear me? This is Elaine.
Elaine,
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I just wanted to add also that the group of counties hired this supplier and have given them the assignment of going out and finding every bit of energy that is local in Pennsylvania, that's a supplier that is renewable, that's not a rec. And they have been sort of given marching orders to do that. So we will see what they come back with and what the prices are.
Okay. Thank you, Elaine. Francine, did you unmute yourself before?
Yes, first, I just want to support exactly what Elaine said, because that's true. And I also want to mention that, once again, we're a member of the PJMCCC, in which we are trying to influence the regulatory world. It is difficult in Pennsylvania for renewable energy infrastructure to be created and then the energy returned back to the grid. Becca and I have visited FERC, which is the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, and it's very challenging to do this in Pennsylvania. Whereas in New York, you can build the solar panel field and transmit it right back to the grid. Pennsylvania, we have to fight through regulatory hurdles to get there, and so we're trying to do that from that angle as well.
Right. Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, hearing none, I'll share my screen to go into the next item on the agenda, which is review action items from the last meeting. I think pretty much we covered a lot that was from our last meeting, but I know we still want to get our meeting minutes approved, and we still want to review the bylaws change, bylaws amendment. So that's still on our to-do list, but let me share my screen here.
Carol, I also want to mention that Ed
Oh.
Warner has joined the group, so I just want to mention for roll call, he joined us a while back.
Oh, okay, thank you. I believe we still don't have quorum, but I will note that on the spreadsheet that he's here. Let me share my screen. Any new business? Would anyone like to bring up new business? Okay, hearing none. We'll go back to the agenda. Set action items for next meeting. Again, basically it's we'll try to get quorum for next month so we can approve our meeting minutes and get the bylaws amendment passed. And then I know we talked about, there's so much going on. We'll have another update about the awards, like the awards will be posted next week. So hopefully, you know, we can promote that next time. Any other actions? Or I don't know if Becca, you listed any as we went along.
The only other action is going to be compiling that list of Earth Day events,
Oh, yeah.
or I'll say springtime as well. So it doesn't have to just be Earth Day weekend. So if you guys think of any or come across any other events in your travels, send them my way and I'll add them to our list so we can have a comprehensive list on our social media.
Okay, that's great. Okay, any new business? Any other? Okay, I'll go on to the next item on the agenda, which I believe we already went through public comment, but again, is there any public comment? Oh, okay. Looks like the next item is just to adjourn. Since we don't have quorum, I won't go through asking for a motion or anything, but just one last time, is there anything anyone would like to share before we adjourn? Okay, well, thank you all. I appreciate working with all of you and I appreciate all that you do and such exciting things going on. So thank you for all of your efforts.
Thanks, Carol.
Thank you.
Thanks, Carol. Good night,
Yeah.
everyone.
Good night.